Hello there and welcome back my friends to another video. In this video we're talking about cloudy water in your aquarium. So if your aquarium has gone cloudy or is cloudy, then this is the video you need to watch to solve that problem. There are four main reasons why an aquarium can go cloudy, and some of them are standalone issues, but others can be linked with each other. So it's worth watching the entire video just to see whether your problem is actually two issues that you need to resolve rather than just one. So the first main reason why your aquarium can go cloudy is just simply because it's a brand new aquarium. New aquarium setups, and by that I mean fresh aquariums out of the box, or ones that have been cleaned out, dried, stored and then reset up, have no bacteria inside of them. Once you've set them up with your decor and added your gravel and also added the water and filter and everything else and got it going, essentially it is a barren landscape. So in your new aquarium that you've just set up and made look lovely, there's nothing living. There's no good bacteria, there's no bad bacteria, there's no algae, absolutely nothing. And it takes a few days to a week to actually get things to enter your aquarium, and these come from the atmosphere. The first settlers to your aquarium are normally things that live in the water column, and this is what causes this cloudiness, this mistiness in new aquariums. Essentially, in your new setup, the water is going cloudy because it's being colonized by bacteria and sometimes algae if it goes a little bit green. This is totally normal, and in this particular case the best thing you can do is actually wait it out. It normally takes between 2 to 4 weeks for this cloudiness to go away, and the reason it goes away is because other bacteria start to settle in your aquarium. They settle in your filter, they settle on all of the surfaces within your aquarium, and they tend to then outcompete the bacteria and algae that are growing in your water column, so the water will eventually go clear and your tank will mature and become healthy. So essentially what I'm saying is, if it's a new aquarium, just wait it out and it should be good within a couple of weeks. However, there are some things that you can add to your aquarium to speed this process up, such as bacterial boosters and filter starters. All these are simply live or spores of good bacteria that you put into your aquarium. It just adds them faster than they can be added from the atmosphere, and it just makes the cycling process a little bit quicker than if you just let it do it on its own. However, if after a couple of weeks your aquarium is still cloudy and it hasn't cleared up, then there may be other issues that are causing the cloudiness, and that's what I'm going to go into next. So if we establish that most of the cloudiness in your aquarium is caused by stray bacteria and algae, in a mature aquarium, or in an aquarium that should have been matured by now, if it's still cloudy, then we can kind of conclude the fact that there isn't enough area in your aquarium or in your filter for that bacteria to live, so it has to live in your water instead. Now this can be caused by a few things. It's not always just the fact that the filter isn't big enough or strong enough for that size aquarium. It could be that you've overstocked the tank with fish, i.e. there's more fish in there than there should be, or you're feeding the fish too much and that's creating excess waste, which is making there be more bacteria in the tank than there normally would be. The easiest way to sort of resolve this issue is to either increase the power and size of your filter, and that would give your bacteria more area to live in. You could possibly add an extra filter if upgrading isn't possible, or remove some of the extra fish that are in your aquarium. When it comes to feeding, you really don't need to feed fish that often. Even though on most packets of fish food it says feed 2 to 3 times a day, really the maximum you should be doing is once a day, and that's only what they eat within 1 minute. Any leftover food should be removed, and if there is leftover food, then you're feeding too much. But really you can feed fish every other day or every 2 days, and they're totally fine with this. So adding more surface area for your good bacteria to live is really one of the easiest ways to clear a cloudy aquarium. Staying on the topic of filtration, sometimes you can have the appropriate size filter on your aquarium and the appropriate number of fish for your aquarium, but after a period of time the aquarium starts to get cloudier and cloudier until it just becomes very milky and never really clears up. Now, I've encountered this problem myself with a very big filter. It was an FX5 and it was on a 450 litre tank. There were big fish in it and everything went well for about 2 years, until one day the aquarium went really cloudy and I was scratching my head as to why. Well, what actually happened was the media inside of the filter had actually become full. A lot of the media that is for biological action, i.e. for bacteria to live in, tend to be made from ceramic balls or tubes and give lots of surface area for bacteria to live. Well, over the period of 2 years, what had happened is all the bacteria had moved in and was very happy, but had died and created waste within these little holes, until eventually a lot of the surface area on that media had simply been filled, and then there wasn't enough space on it to harbour the bacteria, so they moved into the water column and made my water very cloudy indeed. All I had to do in this case was to actually give my media a really good clean and also replace quite a lot of my biomedia with fresh stuff so that the bacteria had somewhere to live. After that, within a few days, the water went clear. So in a mature tank, if you have this issue, then the best thing to do is to give your filter a really good clean and also replace some of the media if needed. The third reason your aquarium could be cloudy is all to do with ammonia. So this kind of does tie into overfeeding as well, because you can get ammonia spikes from two reasons. The first reason, and normally the most common, is the fact that one of your fish or multiple of your fish have died. So if you have a mature tank or even a new tank, but it's clear and you've been happy with it, and then one day you come down and it's gone really cloudy, it almost looks like the water is thick and a bit slimy and there's a terrible smell coming from it, it's probably the fact that one of your fish has died overnight and released a lot of ammonia as it decomposes. Ammonia is really bad for fish. It means they can't breathe very well. It binds to their gills and stops them absorbing oxygen into their body. But also, with ammonia present in the water, you'll get a little bloom of ammonia-eating bacteria, and that is what causes the cloudiness. If you don't deal with this immediately, what can happen is after the first fish has died, actually multiple of your fish will die, and you'll have more and more ammonia until actually your entire tank can get wiped out, and it can be a very sorry state indeed. The easiest way of solving this issue is to do a very large water change. I know large water changes are normally frowned upon, but in this situation where it's life or death, a big water change, so over 50%, maybe even 75%, can be necessary. Once you do that, another thing you need to do is obviously remove any dead fish, and you can also add products which bind ammonia. So they're called ammonia removers. They don't really remove ammonia, they just bind it to a non-toxic form, and then that will allow the bacteria to break it down naturally. Once you've done this, you'll probably find that after a couple of days or so, the water will just return to being normal and not cloudy again. The other way you can get an ammonia spike in your aquarium is if you overfeed, and this is normally done by children or people who are looking after the tank for you and don't have an understanding of what the appropriate amount of food is. So I've heard lots of stories of little children wanting to feed the fish, and rather than doing the appropriate amount, a small pinch, they pour the whole pot in. Parent doesn't realise until it's too late and the tank goes cloudy, and this is normally worse than if a fish had died, because there's a lot of waste in fish food. An entire pot can wipe out a tank. If it's not caught early enough, you can lose your entire tank, and it's also a lot harder to remove because a lot of the flake food, for instance, will break down in the water, get in all the nooks and crannies, and sometimes you need to completely break down the entire aquarium, give it a deep clean and replace the gravel. It can be one of the worst things that you can do to your aquarium. The procedure is the same though: big water changes, ammonia removers, and also a gravel clean or two. Now, the fourth and final reason that aquariums become cloudy and milky is actually not to do with bacteria. However, it can be to do again with your filtration, and this is just simply debris in the water and debris in the aquarium. So long as you have fish and or plants in your aquarium, you will always have things that turn into debris. So the fish will poo and that will be debris, plants will die and they'll break down and they'll sort of rot away and they'll leave something called a mulm. And this is all just stuff that can accumulate in your aquarium. So if you have a good filter with lots and lots of flow, which you maintain regularly, this doesn't tend to be an issue because all of the debris will be picked up by the filter, taken away into it and cleaned out by the sponges or fine mesh inside your filter. However, when it comes down to poor flow, under filtration, overstocking, or just simply poor maintenance of the filter and lack of gravel cleans, then you can get a build up of this stuff in your aquarium and gravel, and what will happen over time is it will build up a layer of just dusty debris and malm in your aquarium, in dead spots where the flow doesn't reach, and as your fish swim around they can disturb this, make it go into the water column, and you can have lots and lots of little bits, little particles all floating around in your water, and it makes it look really cloudy and horrible. And this is just simply down to poor maintenance and lack of filtration. It's really easy to solve. You can add a bigger filter or just simply maintain your filter more often. You can add fine mesh filtration, which will take out a lot of this fine debris and actually make the water really crystal clear. Or you can add something called a power head. So if you've got areas where the flow isn't so great and the dirt builds up, add a power head to this area, and what will happen is it will blast this area with flow, make all the dirt go into the water column, and then it will get sucked up by your filter. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been helpful for you to get crystal clear aquarium water, work out why it's gone cloudy, and resolve any issues in the future. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like below. Also, subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much for watching, and happy fish keeping!